We're going to focus a bit more on synthesis and transformation. I think at primary 3, you might not have, or rather your school might not have really touched on synthesis and transformation yet. Okay, but in time to come, actually, it is actually quite important because synthesis and transformation is one of the component in your PSLE English. It still is one of your components, and it actually carries quite a lot of weightage. It's a 10 marks component, right? There are 5 questions, and each question is 2 marks. And most of the time, actually, for synthesis and transformation, if you know some common question types, actually is quite easy to score. Okay, as long as you can tackle certain question types. And a lot of them are quite repetitive. A lot of them are quite standard. Okay, so in terms of today's lesson objectives, we will focus on synthesis and transformation as one of the components, but particularly we're going to look at how do we use the word since as a connector in your sentences, in your construction of sentences. Okay, so since, right? So since is usually something to do with cause and effect. Okay, but we'll come to that later. But before that, okay, since there's just one of you, I think I will look very closely at your results. Okay, we can cover that. You've attempted the questions 4 times. I actually can see it from my record here. Okay, I believe you were trying and trying lah, right? We will look at one of the one which you've scored the least because we want to just make sure that we cover all those questions that you are not familiar with. Okay, Ken? So as I can see from here, question 1 and 2, you got it correct. I'm just going to quickly go through those you got right. Okay. One more thing that maybe I just want to cover with you, although I'm not taking this class per se, but I think it's always good to look at the big picture. Okay. So currently we are at tutorial number 46. Right? So we are talking about using connectors. In this case, it's using the word since for synthesis and transformation. So in the upcoming lessons, actually, in fact, there are just 2 more weeks because we're going to take a 2 weeks break, I think, at the last 2 weeks of December, right? The Christmas and New Year break. Okay, so there are only 2 more lessons left. This is the 3rd last lesson today. In the upcoming lessons, I think your teacher will bring you through compo the next lesson, and then after that, the last week will be on oral. Okay, so if you notice, I'm not sure whether you've been with us for very long. Have you been with us for at least a few months already? Or are you a new student?
I just joined like last month.
Oh, you just joined last month. Okay, so you're a new student actually. 1 month only, huh? Yeah. So if you've noticed, because 1 month when you just joined, um, we were doing, I think, mostly post-exam activities because it was after exams, right? But normally, if let's say you join us since the beginning of the year, which you probably will start next year, tutorial 48 is the last lesson in a year. We have a total of 48 weeks in a year. Okay, so that means next year onwards we'll start from tutorial 1 again. So every lesson actually every tutorial will be covering different components because it's not possible to cover the entire paper in one lesson. So you notice that like this week, let's say if you're doing compo, maybe next week we do compre, and then we do synthesis and transformation. Okay, so that's what we usually do, huh? Yeah, so this is basically looking into the future, lah, what we're gonna do in future. Okay, so this year is gonna end soon. 2 more weeks, right? Okay, now we'll start off with your grammar MCQ. Usually in between, I'll give you a short break before we come back for a game. Okay, there's only one of you, so there's no competition, but we can still play a game. Okay. We'll cover both grammar and vocabulary MCQ first, then we take a break, then we come back for synthesis. All right? Okay, now first question. Badminton is played what a rectangular court?
On a rectangular court.
Yeah, in this case, right, because the court, okay, is flat on the ground, we don't usually say in Okay, we say on a rectangular court. Yeah. So in this case, this one will be B. I think you got this correct. Very good. Okay, now next one. Listen, the radio, what your favorite song?
Is playing.
It's playing, yes. Because over here it says listen, right? So it's like an, oops, sorry. So it's like an instruction now. Okay, so it actually suggests that it has to be present. Okay. The radio, now it seems like it's ongoing. So if it is ongoing, it basically suggests that it has to be continuous. Okay. So present tense, this is present, present. This is past tense, so these are out. And continuous tense, this one is simple present. This is simple present tense. Okay, then we have simple continuous tense. So it has to be continuous because it is still playing, it's ongoing. So therefore, this is out and the answer is C. Very good. Okay, I think your tenses are quite okay, right? Any questions for this?
No.
No? Okay, if there aren't, then we're going to move on to the next question, yeah? Everyone. Now, when we talk about everyone, people will think that, wow, everyone means there are many people. But in fact, actually, everyone suggests every single one. So everyone is actually comes with a singular verb that follows. Okay, so it has to be singular. So which means that this is a plural verb, right? Watch is a plural verb, right? Like for example, the students watch because students is plural. It's a plural subject, so it comes with a plural verb. There's always a subject verb agreement. Okay, so this is a subject, and then this one usually is the verb. So the verb must agree with the subject. So that's called subject verb agreement. Okay, so everyone what with bated breath as the magician tries to free himself. Okay, so like I said, it has to be present. It has to be singular because if how do you know it's present tense? Because this is tries. See, this is a simple present tense. Okay, tries. Try, tries, tried, right? So this is a simple present tense. So it really tells you that it is simple present. Okay. And then of course there's this word bated. Bated breath means that it is worried and nervous. Okay. So this one is additional vocabulary words that you can try to find out the meaning. So bated basically means very worried or nervous. But in an excited way. Okay, it's like watching a football match, for example. You're a bit nervous about the outcome, but it's not that you're nervous as in really scared, right? It's more of like nervous, but in an excited way. You just want to know what's the score going to be like. So it's bated breath, right? So, like I say, it has to be present tense. So this is out, right? Was is actually a past. Okay, it's past continuous, right? When there's an ing, it's a continuous tense. So since it has to be present and this is past, this is also out. So the only answer will be B, watches. Everyone, right? Every single one watches, yeah? Any questions? No? Okay. Next one, the this stick. Okay, this stick, it says this is actually what we call a determiner. Okay, of course, I think you know very well this, that, these, those, right? So what are they actually? These, that, these, those, they are actually what we call our demonstrative pronouns. It can be a determiner, but it can also be a demonstrative pronouns, right? Pronouns can actually replace a noun. So these are demonstrative pronouns. I think it's good to know. right? These, that, these, those, right? So it's a grammar. It's a demonstrative pronoun, right? So in this case, this stick already tells you that it must be singular, right? Because if it is these or those, then they are plural, right? But if it is this and that, it actually tells you that they are singular. So since it's singular, the verb, okay, this one is the subject of the sentence, right? It is the subject of the sentence. Again, the verb must agree with the subject. It's a singular subject, so it must be a singular verb. So this is plural, so these two are out. Okay? So this stick is or this stick has. Which one?
This is.
Very good. Okay, so this stick is. Okay, we have to choose the correct verb, right? So this stick is not tender. The customer grumbled. Okay, this stick is not tender. The customer grumbled. All right, so next one. What man standing over there is Charlie's uncle? Okay, so you know, yeah, sorry, Emmett.
The man standing over there.
Very good. Okay, so what are all these words here? Huh? These are actually what we call our articles. Okay, so the articles and the, actually there is a difference amongst these three. Is usually when we are talking about a general subject or object. And is also general, but it usually applies to your A, yes, your vowels. A, E, I, O, U. But sometimes there are exceptions. Like for example, okay, what are the exceptions? The exceptions are words that do not have the sound. Like for example, uniform. Although it starts with U, but we usually say a uniform. Okay, a unicorn. We don't say an unicorn, right? And of course, there are exceptions that do not start with vowel, but we call it an hour, right? Because the H actually has the O sound, right? And hour and honor, right? It's an honor. Okay. So these are the exceptions. Now, what about the? The is when you know specifically who you're referring to. Okay. If you know specifically who you're referring to, then it's called the. The man standing over there is Charlie's uncle. So because we know who we are referring to, therefore the answer is the. We okay? Yep, great. Wonderful. Okay, so there goes our grammar MCQ. I think you did okay. Okay, it's just the first two questions. No, sorry, it's only the third question. The rest are okay. Okay, now we'll go on to your vocabulary next before we take a break and then we come back for games, okay? The rain came suddenly and everyone what for shelter. Okay, for this one, I will write the meanings down and you can write or you can don't write because actually we will still be sharing the annotated slides with you. Okay, so usually you can keep it as notes to revise like if it comes to exam time. Okay, so scrambling. Scrambling is an action whereby it make someone make one's way quickly but awkwardly. Because it's like usually it's in times of emergency. So you scrambled somewhere. It is quick, but it's scrambling. Okay. Usually it's up a steep gradient. Okay, by using one's hand and feet. Okay, scrambling up.